Austin. It is I, Omnibrennen, back again for another super awesome episode of Omnicorner. This week we actually have two new releases, one from each of the big parties, Marvel and DC. Both wonderfully retrospective on some of their past works. We'll start off with Marvel, Masters of Suspense, Stan Lee and Ditko, Omnibus Volume 1, which promises, of course, to be one. It's the first of what is going to be 2 volumes to complete that sort of showcase of that era. This is a really cool collection because it's basically a collection of all of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's horror, suspense, a little bit of crime, a little bit of war stories in there as well. All the kind of pre-superhero Silver Age stuff. So before they created Spider-Man, before they created Doctor Strange, before Ditko kind of left his mark on the Marvel canon. Yeah, there was, some of the biggest comics at the time. This is, late 50s through mid 60s. Those were the big genres, things like romance, things like sci-fi, horror, thrillers, things like that. So, Stan Lee and, of course, people like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, made a big career out of doing stuff like that before the explosion of the superhero genre in the late Golden Age, Silver Age. But yeah, so this is a really great collection. You get a great big collection of stuff in here, a large variety. You get some early issues of Journey into Mystery, like number 33 and 38, as well as 50 through 73, Strange Tales 46 and 50. You get some issues of Journey into Unknown Worlds, Mystery Tales, Two Gun Western, like some of that Western stuff, World of Suspense, Marvel Tales, Spellbound, Strange Tales of the Unusual, Astonishing 53, World of Mystery 3 and 6, World of Fantasy 16 through 19, Battle 63, Gunsmoke Western 66, Strange Worlds 1 through 5, Tales to Astonish 1 through 26, Tales of Suspense 1 through 15, and then 17 through 24, and lastly, Amazing Adventures 1 through 6. Now, yeah, it's cool, especially if you're a Ditko fan, because Ditko's first Marvel published work was in 1958, which is definitely included here, as well as his very last Marvel project, which is also included in here. Yeah, it's a fantastic collection. I love it when they kind of take the non-superhero side volumes and series and kind of republish those for people to see, because those are a really important part of kind of comic book history and where comic books, which are so commonly thought of as the superhero, sort of medium today, started is being kind of those pulp magazines and stuff like that, and it does a really great job of collecting that. That'll of course get the standard 10% off of its pretty standard $100 price tag. So it'll get you about $10 off. That's pretty cool. But it won't be getting the extra 5%, the 15% off deal of the week. That, of course, is going to my honored guest, the Joker. That's my Joker voice. I don't practice at home. Collection, to my knowledge, is the first time that the Joker's ever had anything like an omnibus. Now he's had stories included in like absolute editions, like the Brian Azzarello and Lieber Mayhew Joker story was included in a nice slipcase absolute edition along with their Luthor storyline. But yeah, as far as a big thick collection of Joker centric stuff, this is I believe the first, and yeah, it's a pretty great. So this is the Joker, DC's The Joker Bronze Age omnibus, which kind of is collecting Joker stories from like late 60s up through the 70s. One thing that's pretty notable, about I guess kind of comics in general is that that's the reason we kind of block out comics eras in decades, is because as the culture shifts from decade to decade, there's the culture shift from 50s to the 60s to the 70s. You see that reflected a lot in the comics of those times. So this is a great showcase of kind of the shifting of the character of the Joker, who throughout most of the 60s was very similar to his Cesar Romero performance in or portrayal in the Adam West Batman show, which was very kind of campy, very fun, very clownish, very very pranky, and so this was an attempt to sort of early on edge him back into the role of sort of a maniacal murderer. He's still a clown, he's still funny, he's still all about pranks, but everything's just got a bit more sinister edge to it. Everything's a little bit darker now as we enter the 70s. It's pretty cool. So a rundown, you get Batman 251, 260, 286, 291 through 294. 321, 353, 365 through 366, and 400. Now you might recognize some of the ones that specifically 251, which is the famous, you've probably seen the image if you don't recognize the issue number. It features famous artwork by Neil Adams, the Joker holding a giant playing card. Joker's kind of towering over the city as he laughs maniacally. And yeah, that's the, that's one of many famous story arcs, but one of the ones included in here, which is, I believe, is called Joker's Five-Way Revenge. You also get storylines. These are some storylines that you'll definitely see influences from in later Batman incarnations, like Batman the Animated Series definitely did episodes based on those storylines. You also get, what is that, Batman 366, which is famous for being the first appearance of Jason Todd in the Robin costume. We had seen him introduced a few issues earlier, but yeah, 366 is where Jason Todd becomes Robin, which is almost kind of sad to include that in a Joker omnibus, considering how that all kind of turns out. But yeah, you get that, and that's just you get some fun stories. They did several stories around that time about kind of reluctant team-ups between Joker and Batman, which can only mean fun craziness. And then you also get the Joker's kind of what I believe was his first solo series that came out in the 70s that kind of focused on him. It didn't run for very long. Like I said, 9 issues, but it was definitely one of those things that in retrospect people have definitely tried to go and collect, because it's a really great incarnation and story about the Joker, and it's very influential in as far as how we consider the Joker today. Nowadays, we've seen all sorts of different incarnations, things that get very gritty, very dark, very menacing. But this is the one that I think kind of strikes that perfect balance that people generally think of when they think of the Joker, where he's a clown, he's funny, but he's crazy, and he's unhinged, and it's a lot of fun, the balance they strike here. But another super cool thing is that there was actually supposed to be a 10th issue of that Joker solo series, which, as it says on the back here, previously unpublished, number 10. So you're getting that included for the first time. Like the Marvel Masters of Suspense one, this one runs about $100, $99.99 cover price. But like I said, getting the 15% off discount this week on this one, just this one. So I recommend coming and grabbing it while supplies last. It's a crazy good time. Yeah, I can't wait. I think, is this Neil Adams on the front? I think this is Neil Adams art. I could be mistaken, but I hope I'm right. Because I'm all saying all knowing, or so I claim. Couple great selections this week. I definitely recommend coming and checking these out if you're a fan of wonderful, condensing of famous storylines, or beautiful recreations of historical comic books that kind of predates the media, sort of what we think of as the medium today. Yeah, I love it. I'm glad that we seem to have new omnibuses coming out every single week. I remember you'd have to wait several weeks in between, and now they just seem to be cascading out of the presses. So yeah, that's been the Omnicorner for this week. Come check them out. Plugs, of course. We've got our Labor Day weekend sale coming up at the end of August, starting on the 31st? Whatever that weekend is. Friday of that weekend. And yeah, all of our, some of the things, I shoot here in the back issue area. If you're familiar with the store, you know this area. All these back issues. Any back issue back here, $20 and under, is going to get half off for that weekend, which is crazy good. I'm already kind of peeking around trying to decide what I'm going to nab up for that sale. You also we're doing 20% off action figures, things like that. I've got some Marvel Select figures that I've got my eyes on. And then, yeah, of course, graphic novels, including our omnibus collections, are getting 25% off during that weekend. So that's great. It's, it's not the 10, not the 15, 25. 25% off. 25% off that weekend, if these are here. We have plenty of omnis that'll all get the 25% off that week. And yeah, all the graphic novels, all the manga as well, I should include. And yeah, it's going to be great. We have all sorts of stuff going on at our other stores as well. Guzu Gallery, Outlaw Moon. We'll all have very specific deals going on at each of our locations. We'll also be having a signing that Saturday with David Marquez, whose art is so fantastic. It's like extra fantastic. Not so. I certainly didn't mean to say that. Very fantastic. Extra fantastic. And yeah, we're excited to have him come back. Anyways, this video is running a little long. We will be sure to check out our other videos, Game Master, Manga Monday, LGBT or whatever we are on Sunday. What's going on this Sunday? Because we just did Sister Sunday, so we'll have to see. We'll see about that. But yeah, check them out. We always post to our social media, Facebook, like you're probably watching this one on right now. And yeah, that's been Omnicorner this week. As always, I am Omnibrennen, and I always say, omnibuses to the people.